Hi everyone, this is a tutorial showing you how to navigate the clinical assessment assignment. So the first thing you want to do is locate it, and you can locate it in a few spots, but the easiest is through the assessments link. By clicking the assessments link and opening up all the assessments, you'll see it right here at the bottom. We click the clinical assessment link, and there's a few links that are here. So this first one, the clinical assessment assignment, is where you're actually going to submit the assignment. I'll show you how to do that in a second. You've got the clinical assessment assignment instructions, the drug history questionnaire, adverse consequences. The ADAT tools manual is a large manual that just kind of explains the drug history questionnaire and the adverse consequences, along with many other assessments. And it's just there for your own interest, but isn't necessary to go through it all. These are two examples of how to complete the drug history questionnaire and the adverse consequences. And the one thing I'll do is show you that by clicking the clinical assessment assignment link, this is where you would actually begin to submit your attempt. You can do this by clicking here, and you'll see all the documents if you want to find another spot to locate them, and you can upload your submissions. When you are submitting this assignment, you need to submit 3 parts to the assignment. So you'll be submitting the adverse consequences sheet that you fill out, the drug history questionnaire sheet that you fill out, and then a written report where you can see the instructions are here in the clinical assessment assignment. So if I just come back out, I will open the actual instructions and we'll kind of go through them. And so here we'll see the instructions. The purpose of this exercise is to actually get to utilize some clinical assessments and to sit down with somebody. So the purpose of this is going to be to select somebody in your life. That person does not need to specifically struggle with addiction, but that they would have used one of the substances that we looked at within preferably the last 90 days. I do have some people who interview somebody who has previously used substance, and you can go back and do that as well if that works for you and for the person you're interviewing. So the first thing you're going to do is find somebody in your life and let them know, identify that you are interviewing them for a class assignment. This is an anonymous assignment. You'll see here it explains that I don't need to know the person's real name, and I would actually don't identify them by a real name and create a pseudonym or a fake name. And then you're going to sit down and complete the 2 assessments with them and just ask them the questions on the assessment. You're going to complete all aspects of the clinical assessment tools, adverse consequences, and the drug history questionnaire. And then you'll provide an overall summary of the person's substance use, looking at explaining the drug history questionnaire. Then you will write a paragraph outlining the adverse consequences, if any, from the adverse consequences questionnaire. Then, based on the assessment, are there any interventions, treatments, or even just changes? So intervention sounds like an intense word, but really an intervention is any type of action that disrupts or changes behavior. And so, one thing that is really important, and I'll give you a little bit of piece of advice here, which is that everybody can benefit from some form of change or intervention. And so often what happens is, even if somebody isn't using in a way that is detrimental to them, or what we might view as a kind of an addictive use, they can still benefit from education or understanding what they're putting in their body and how that's impacting them. And so it's just an opportunity for you to kind of look at some of the types of changes or recommendations that you may make. And then lastly, a paragraph that kind of concludes and just talks about your experience filling out the assessments and sitting down and talking with somebody. So that's essentially what you need to do. It does say here, overall recommended observations should be a maximum of 3 typed pages. People always want to know kind of minimums and maximums. I don't really have a minimum, although as I've been saying this here, what you're going to see is that you probably want at least 3 or 4 paragraphs minimum. And so try not to get too hung up on the minimum maximum part of that. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and email me at jmccourt@sl.on.ca. Take care.